you, like, in most cases, like, if you're, like, an active poet, and by active, I mean, like, you've written more than, like, over the course of, like, 50 years, and if you're that live, like, you know, you're still alive, pushing IVs doing poetry, kudos for you, you know, you must have a lot of material. Anywho, that ain't happening.
He just walked in.
No, like when I was 17, I wrote a poem about my father called Sperm Donor. And one of the lines broke down, low down, good for nothing, sperm donor. I don't know why I thought it was a rapper, and I apologize. So I have all the poets who think that they're rappers when we're not. You know, I had an intervention, called a workshop, fixed it all up. Yeah, so I'm working on this thing where I'm using like a line that I don't like from a really bad poem and trying to put it into a new one, or just use that line as inspiration. So I guess I can use this segue into a poem or a word about my father. So I guess that's a good transition.
Wait.
Oh, he's blind. That has nothing to do with the poem. But I feel like if you pity him, you pity me, and then buy a chapbook. I'm not saying I'm desperate, but please. No. I take stamps. Bus fare, date, anywho. So the poem's called Equilibrium.
Stamps.
Swipe the food stamp.
Actually, I'm not even gonna do that poem. You know, I'm too happy now. Alright, so okay. Has anyone ever heard of this youth poetry event called Brave New Voices?
I have.
Okay, yes. Well, for the unaware, Brave New Voices is a youth poetry slam that takes place once a year in the summer of some random location in the heart of some hood, which this year will be Berkeley or, you know, the Bay. And basically each team represents a city or a slam. They represent that place and they all compete. And then when they lose, they all say, oh my goodness, it's not about the scores. What it is, because no one pays to go to a national open mic. Some other poet said it to me, and I feel like that should be on the t-shirt. Because, you know, you're all emotional about it afterwards, but you're all into it 5 minutes prior. And don't get mad as you go over time and you suck and your poem needs to be buried in the hell that it was brought from. But anywho, so I wrote a poem inspired by my experience there. So it's called Brave New Voices, episode 1. We've been looking for each other. Writing poems about finding ourselves. Being lost is appropriate when you're 17 or 20. When everything you believed in was paused for commercials and revolutions don't exist because you have college and the real world to prepare yourself for, not for change. So you stop writing, completely ignoring the ringing in your head. You know it's a poem or an idea, but no one understands you. How could they? You are a demigod trapped in a censored body with the Children's Crusade wrestling inside it. You find yourself roaming, stumbling upon a party of mirrors, a college campus full of people like you who have fallen victim to the fairy tales of art in their heads. They know that they're crazy. Little freaks with deep concepts for conversations and alliterations for rants. A summit at the Tower of Babel of words and they get me. However, you begin to remember how endings always happen at the beginning of happiness. It's only a matter of time before you are misinterpreted again. Looking for yourself in Vacaville or Cleveland or someplace where people cut short the extension cords of our extended metaphors because they don't get what we are trying to say. The tyranny of average men with computers for hearts, old-fashioned small-minded opinions for ears, and outdated recycled parables for advice. You go home, promising yourself that you'll never stop writing no matter how wrong you are accused of being. Uploading photos and videos on Facebook. You know you are losing yourself. You know that inspiration to change the world is dwindling in the moment you claim your bags into the first person that can't possibly get how your life has been evolved. So you look them in the eyes. Try to find yourself in their pupils, and once you see it, hold on to it. Go over time. Revolutions don't acknowledge time penalties anyway.